Well, I'd like to thank everybody for showing up for the podcast called The Warrior Mindset. My name is Dr. Joe Martin, and I am the host of The Warrior Mindset. And today I got a really, did I say really? I think I did. I said a really good friend of mine, Angel Lopez. We've been friends for now, dude, almost 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
2006?
Yeah, something
maybe
like
about
that.
2006.
Yeah.
And one of my very good friends, we're going to get into it deep on what he's been doing with his life. But the concept of this Warrior Mindset podcast as we continue to build is I'm bringing on guests that I feel have a mindset of a warrior. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be in the service or, have served. Ironically, both of us have served. But the mindset of how you just keep on going with your life. You may have had pitfalls. You may have had quicksand and somebody threw you a rope along the way. So within these podcasts, as we introduce ourselves to the guests and myself as the host, is we're going to dig deep into each one of the individual people that we interview and find out what is their warrior mindset, where their foundation in their life is. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Angel and, thank you for coming on to the podcast. And just real quickly, introduce yourself a little bit. We've been friends, like we were just kind of mentioned, for, I think, 2005, 6?
I think 2006.
Yeah. And I think, to let the audience know, I worked for a company called TRX, and a lot of people know that from a fitness industry. And Angel at the time was running a different jiu-jitsu martial arts type of facility, and I guess we're in the Central Valley, Fresno, Clovis, California, and he was one of the first facilities that I brought the TRX as a functional piece of equipment that obviously from a martial arts, and we'll let him go into that on how that piece was utilized in his facility back in the day. And so, yeah, we're going on, 15 years or more together as buddies.
Yes, that's right. Buddies for life. And it's an honor to be on your show today, Doc.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And you were at Fresno Kickboxing Academy. You came and you did the TRX class with Gabe and me and all the rest of the students to get certified and stuff. So it's very functional. The TRX, it helps with a whole body workout, and it, help keep us going. And I like it because it's about functional strength, about your own body weight. So that's what we liked about it, because that transfers real well to martial arts.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting with that, how we got together, with that. But as I introduced the piece of equipment, we as just individual human beings, found out that we had this camaraderie, which was spending time in the military. I was fortunate enough to spend my 6 years, most of that in the SEAL team, where Angel, himself was
Army infantry, expert infantryman. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, and how long were you in?
I was in the Army for 3 years, and that was the wildest 3 years of my life.
And when were you in?
I was in from 94 to 97.
94 to 97.
Yeah, okay. So that was amazing. It was like what it did, the things I saw in the military, I saw a lot, and it made me a stronger person. And, that transfers to being a warrior. What are you going to do when you see things, troubled things, when, things get wild? Are you going to run? Are you going to face the fire? And, I learned to face the fire and stay in it and stay in the pocket and stay strong and get mentally strong. No matter how much it hurt, I just stuck with it. And, hey, I'm here today still.
What made you, a lot of the questions, and as these podcasts go on, we'll be, introducing ourselves to different military personnel and whatnot. But the question I usually ask with a lot of guys and gals that did, take the jump and serve our country, which, we both all the time are very thankful for that. What made you join the military, back then?
Well, I was a young man and I needed some sort of guidance because things got wild in the streets of
Fresno.
Right there
with you.
Yeah, right. With me in Fresno, just hanging out with the friends, always partying, getting drunk, getting wild, getting in fights. I needed some sort of stability in my life. I needed to become a solid young man. So my dad was a Marine. My grandpa was a Army Ranger. So, I'm come from a military family already. And I'm like, I need to go to the military. So
did your dad and your grandfather kind of have an argument back and forth to where Angel's going?
Yeah, they did back then.
Grandfather won?
Yeah, where are you going? My dad was a crazy Marine. He used to throw darts at us and stuff, to wake us up in the morning. Thank you for that. So I just ended up, I looked around and I'm like, you know what? I just want to go to the Army. Mm-hmm. There was a recruiting post on the corner right by my neighborhood.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I went to go talk to an Army recruiter, and he talked me into it. And because they're good recruiters, they're like, hey, you're going to come with us. We're going to promise you all this and all that. So ended up running, jogging every day, running like 3 miles a day to get prepared for boot camp. And there I went, Army Infantry. I signed on the dotted line, and that was it.
School life, like family life, as you grew up as a kid, from a foundation, from that warrior concept. Obviously, you had a dad. You were super blessed to have a dad and a grandfather that did serve our country. Thank you to them. Do you feel that your foundation, as that young warrior as a kid, did you get a good foundation from there?
I did. I just believed in how strong they were as men, so I'm like, I want to be, they were like my role models, of course. Right. My grandpa and my dad, he used to babysit me, my grandfather.
Right.
So, and he used to always come in the room and go, hooah. He was a Korean War vet. He was just crazy. He had bullet holes in his forearm still. He used to ski down mountains with I think it was an M14.
Probably back then. Yeah.
Back then what they were shooting, but he was crazy, airborne ranger. He went to the military at age 16. So he, my great grandparents signed on the dotted line for him to go that early.
Nice.
Yeah. So he was just a wild grandpa, and I loved him. He was real, just tough on us, and he used to spank us if we yell, like did something wrong. And I just love that guy. Rest in peace right now.
If you cry, I'll give you something to cry about. Right?
Yeah. He's all, I'll give you something to cry about. Yeah. He was just always spanking my uncles and all that, and he was just an amazing grandpa, and I love him for that.
I used to, it's funny you talk about the little spankings or whatever.
Yeah.
I used to call it, when my dad used to reboot us.
Oh, reboot.
Reboot. And it was one of those things where you get that little knot in the back of your head. You know what I mean? And you'd be fussing around and causing a stink in a grocery store or whatever. And he'd give you that little slap on the backside of the head, and you kind of get you skip a step. And,
you're like,
and you just like, nowadays, man, I'm telling you, it's just a little different, isn't it?
Yeah, these kids nowadays, they need some spankings, man. They're spoiled with phones. They got cell phones. They're always glued to it. There's just too many layers in the way nowadays. We didn't have cell phones. We had a phone with a cord on the wall, and we were happy to talk on it.
With the rotary dial.
Yeah, it's like taking forever. It was just, you had to live realistically back then. Everyone hides behind computers, and we had to adapt to that now,
of course,
for marketing and all that. But, they're just too spoiled, and they need to wake up and really work hard for themselves.
Do you think that, so I got you still by a little bit, but I grew up, outside New York City, and we had the country and things like that. And it was one of those things I remember as a kid when, your mom would tell you, go outside and don't come back till dinner.
Yeah.
Now, society has changed. There's some craziness goes on in this world, so sometimes you got to be careful with your kids and whatnot. But I think life was a little different for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like you come home when the street lights are on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
They couldn't call us or nothing. Yeah. Or, we're at the movie theater. We collect call to mama. Come pick me up and hang up because, you didn't have no money. You were just, we got to collect call come get me from the movies. That was what I said to her. So she would come.
And usually on the other line, they say, start walking.
Yeah.
And we'll meet you. We'll pick you up on the way.
They're all, start walking. I'm like, all right, something like that. Yeah. So
I get the same thing. Like growing up in New York, you call, playing baseball, whatever, soccer, whatever you call from the school. And my mom would say, okay, we'll start walking because there's one direction. And it's about maybe about 3 miles.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times I'm walking up the driveway. She'd be walking out the house and she'd be like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Yeah, but you're walking 3 miles. Nowadays, geez, kids can't even walk across the street to school. The parents still got to drop them off.
Exactly. And that's why you're Doc Joe and you were a Navy SEAL because you were a special kind of man and you were a hard worker.
And it's funny, that's the no pun intended, the mindset of this podcast is to meet people and really kind of dig deep into them. And today, we're you and I are chatting together.
Right.
Where do you feel like, that little warrior within you, that mindset started? Like, to even join the military, like as a young guy, would you play sports in high school too?
Yeah. So I played, as a kid, I played Little League baseball, Pop Warner football, wrestled in high school, junior high. So, I always had that warrior spirit in me. I always wanted to fight. But I was a little bit extracurricular. I'm a little hyper. So I used to like to go out and, when we went out, I'd always want to challenge somebody to a fight, or if somebody challenged me, I would fight. I couldn't stop. I was always fighting. I was always getting in trouble. I didn't pay attention in school too much because I felt like it was boring. I mean, when I was a kid, they wanted to move me up a grade in elementary school. And my mom said that I was too short. So she didn't want me to get picked on by everybody.
So you said you picked on everybody else.
Yeah. So I was more like, I didn't want to go to school. I wanted to ditch. And, I was here in Clovis and went to Gateway. I just never made it. I was a bad boy. I was a varsity on the wrestling team as a freshman. And I just couldn't keep my grades up.
Yeah.
They wanted me on the team. I was a great wrestler, but I was more alternative during high school. So it was just a wild high
Right.
school ride. That's why I went to the military.
Well, that's a good point. You said it. So a lot of yours was you're talking about, and it kind of hit home to me when you go. I was one of those smart guys where the school wanted to bring me up a grade.
Mentally, yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, no, I was not that guy. I was one of those remedial guys. It was one of, I'm very blessed, and I'll explain this in a second. But it's funny because I was the remedial guy. Back in the day, they
Right.
would not do this. Like, say for example, when I was in school, you're in reading class in elementary school,
Right.
and you'd be in the elementary school, and they go, "Oh, it's reading time," right?
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, Joe, you got to go to the dummy class."
Oh,
Like,
you're a
dude,
sharp man.
they'd pick you up and they'd say, "Okay, well, you got to go down to the hallway to the dummy class."
Right.
And I was like, man, how embarrassing. Nowadays, oh my God, parents would have a fit.
Oh my God, you're just picking
Yes,
on my
on your
kid. I'm like,
and it was
shut
like,
up.
and then all of a sudden it was the math class. Oh, there goes Joe into the dummy math class. But what it did, I think, for both of us, and yours a little bit different. You had this intelligence about you,
Yeah.
but you couldn't keep your mind focused on it because it was dummied down for you.
Yeah, I was like bored.
And then when you turn 18, join the military.
Join the military.
I'm the opposite, where nobody was going to accept me to school. I don't even think I would get accepted to a community college back
right.
then.
Right.
But then again, here's the path for both of us. We both joined the military. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And like, what was your experience like because you were one of those guys, like a little bit rough around the edges as a kid. We can't go to boot camp fighting everybody. Like,
No.
how did you deal with that? Because you're like, oh crap, I'm going to be in trouble if I start picking a fight with everybody in my barracks.
Yeah, so being in the infantry is a challenge because everything's hardcore. They're trying to break you down. They're trying to see who's going to make it, who's going to be the toughest for America to,
Right.
like to represent our country to fight in war. So you got to meet all the criteria and the standards, and you got to make it. If you don't make it, you ain't going to make it. You got to qualify with a rifle. You got to run 5 miles a day. You got to road march 35 miles. They want to break your back. They want to put a 150-pound rucksack on you and make you crumble and fall and turn you into a worthless piece of shit.
Did you?
That's
did
what
you?
they want to do.
And it's funny, because we both have that same experience, and those are really, really good, comments to hear. Is so you get there, and when you're a kid, you're scrapping, But was there a time in boot, say for example, boot camp, and obviously you did your time in your battalions and commands and all this type of good stuff. But was there a time when you said, "Oh no, man, it's not like wrestling around and fighting these guys is not the way it is"? Like, was there somebody or something that you go, "Oh man, I don't need to fight. Let me and I'm not going to say conform, because
Right.
as military guys, there's certain conformity, but then there's outside the box thinking that the military wants you to have. But was there somebody or something when you got into, say, either boot camp or your command or your school, that where you go, "Oh man, I can't just be fighting my way out of shit"?
Yeah, like one of my first sergeants, we were qualifying, learning how to hold the weapon properly. We all grew up shooting BB guns. We think we're experts. But the M16 fires a little differently, so you got to have
Just a little bit.
trigger squeeze and
Right.
breath control and steady position. So, I was having trouble qualifying in the beginning. And my first sergeant came back. He just got back from, Somalia.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean? Just a great guy. All his Rangers were the ones that got drug in the road and all that.
Check, yeah.
Yeah, so he was a great guy. And he's all, "Angel Lopez, get your head together. Get your head together." And he changed me from that day forward. I got my head together. I started shooting that weapon. Boom. I was a marksman, whatever.
Yeah.
And then by the time a year passed, I'm an expert.
Yeah.
Shooting 39 out of 40.
See, and that's what's funny, because those are those things where that little bit of armor goes on you. You know what I mean? When we talk about that warrior within yourself, and sometimes we're not saying by any stretch of imagination that you're sinking in quicksand.
Right.
But maybe it's you got gravel and the wheels are spinning, but you didn't hit pay dirt yet.
Yeah.
And then you get this first sergeant that kind of grabs you by the bootstraps.
Yeah.
And that's one. And there's many guys along the way. We'll use him as a mortar.
Yes.
Right. And then each brick and mortar that you and I put on in our lives, what makes us that stronger warrior.
Right.
You would say to yourself, "Okay, that's that first sergeant."
And that's what I loved about the infantry, because it made you become a better person. You had no choice. When we would run in boot camp, you have 3 groups. You got the regular group, you got the intermediate, and the speed demons.
Yeah.
So once they see you start to run faster, they're not going to let you stay in the middle group no more, because it's too easy. So Lopez, get your ass in the speed demons.
Yeah.
So now I'm in the speed demons. And then almost graduating boot camp, we ran 5 miles in 31 minutes. I'm like, that was insane. They're all run so you can't hear your feet. And I'm like, you can't hear your feet. We're just running. I'm like, wow, that's like 6-minute miles for 5 miles straight.
Yeah.
That's insane. And I
That's
know you
crazy.
did stuff like that. You're a Navy SEAL, so it's wild.
Well, and it's funny because
You become an animal.
right, and that you're building that foundation, with yourself and that mindset, that clarity of who you are as an individual becomes more,
Real.
real. That's a really good word to use. It's just really real. So when you got done with boot camp and then you went to your infantry school?
Yes, I went to boot camp was done. Went to the Bradley Fire and Vehicle Driving School.
Oh, check.
Yeah, and
Gotcha.
all that advanced individual training.
Yep.
AIT.
Yep.
And just killed it and did my 4 months and graduated as an infantry soldier. And I was like, wow, man, I made it. After all that hell, just everything, not talking to people for 4 months. Then you graduate from boot camp. You're like, what the hell did I just go through? And when you come back from that last road march, that was 35 miles, and they tell you it's only going to be 18. It wasn't. They try to kill you. So we left at like 6 p.m. and came home at like 6 a.m. And we're like, I looked in the mirror and I was like, I did that. Like I looked at myself, I said, I could do anything. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny because those are those foundations that mindset you build, like we talked about a second ago, that brick and mortar of who we are as individuals. So then when you got out, right? And a lot of times, believe me, I thought the same thing. When I first got out, I thought, hey, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back into the SEAL team,
right?
Get my college degree, which I did, and then just sometimes the road goes in a different direction.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, from a career point of view. But when you got out, and believe me, because you get that structure every day, your dark 30, you're getting up, your PT, and you go to your command, you go to your post, whatever the heck you're doing, your training, whatever. Now you get out, and it's just like. Not necessarily saying somebody's telling you what to do, but like when you got out, what was your mindset to go, okay, I'm going to freaking own a studio? I mean,
so when I got out, I'm like, okay, I wanted to go to school for air conditioning and heating.
Oh, check.
Which I still own Central California Air from the results of that.
Yeah.
So, but I had to keep going. I had to keep, moving forward because the infantry is insane. It's like you're so focused. You're like, there's nothing you can't do. So I'm like, I know I'm going to go out there. I'm going to be perfect and all that, and everything's going to work. But the truth of the matter is, it isn't perfect when you come out.
No, it's not.
It's different. It's just, there's too much freedom. I got out of the Army. I started smoking weed. I'm like, I can smoke weed now because I'm not in the Army no more. I don't get tested. I got an honorable discharge, So stuff like that, hanging out, drinking, partying, dating girls, whatever, having fun, going out and just enjoying my life. During the college times.
Right.
So then, I finished college, even though I was smoking weed and drinking beer, I still got a 2.5. I was all right. I still graduated.
Yeah.
Then started working in the field, got my contractor's license, opened up my own business, and then worked every day, with the military mindset, the warrior mindset, and with, just my hard work ethic coming from the infantry, which it sets the tone for everything. Yeah. It changed me for the rest of my life. I can go to work I did 23 service calls in one day. It was 106 degrees outside for a whole month. Or 112 or something. Like it was the hottest time in Fresno ever, 2006. And I started at 7 a.m., came home at 1 a.m., and I did 23 service calls. That's a lot. I must have changed 3 transmissions in my work truck because I'm just all about hard work ethic. Just being a warrior, I can never get enough. And I'm like, man.
That's a warrior mindset, man.
I'm getting so much money out here fixing air conditioners, being nice to people, taking care of people. I'm like, I'm going to be set. So I'm just working. I come home dirty and grimy in my Carhartt overalls, just being a warrior. It reminded me of being in the military. And I'm like, all that madness and hard work transformed to this, and I was just an AC machine warrior.
You have that, and that's that work ethic, right?
Right.
And so same thing. I get out. The big thing is going to college. Focusing first of all on undergrad and exercise physiology, and then went to the graduate school, became a chiropractor and sports chiropractor, and whatnot. But you have the mental mindset, right, which is still warrior. But so right now you just talked about heating, air conditioning. Right now, the warrior within that, man. I'm doing 23 service calls, blah blah blah. But you still got to keep your PT up. Like,
That's
what
right.
were you doing? What were you doing on the side before? Were you doing rolling on your own? Were you just going to a local gym?
I was going to a local gym and lifting, but then I'm like, this isn't enough because
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm getting muscle and I'm doing that, but I'm like, I like to fight,
Mm-hmm.
so that wasn't enough. Then I run into my buddy, Gabe Martin,
Yeah,
great
yeah.
guy, of course, one of
Yeah.
my brothers. We're brothers. And he says, let's open up Fresno Kickboxing Academy. We start talking about it, out of shape wrestlers. We put it all together. So the gym opens up. Now I all of a sudden want to be a martial artist.
Yeah.
I'm everywhere, ADD. I'm like, okay, I'm a hard worker, this and that. They call it ADD. I call it attention to detail. We're smart.
Yes.
We can do too much more than most people.
Well, I think when we first met, you were probably a white belt
Yeah, I was a white
in
belt.
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so I was a white belt. Then we had, my Professor Speedy
Yep.
came in and helped change me and guide me on the mat. And I started competing, trained. I had a shoulder surgery,
That's right.
my second one to correct it,
Mm-hmm.
because the first one didn't pan out right. I got a shoulder surgery just to compete. So I ended up fighting in the cage.
That's right.
And I won that fight. And I started doing jiu-jitsu. And I really wanted to fight, like, in the UFC. And I saw myself going to the UFC and pride fighting in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Those were my first goals. But when I started doing jiu-jitsu, my whole mind changed. And jiu-jitsu kind of stole me from that. And I think it was a good thing because
100%.
yeah, I love jiu-jitsu. It's a beautiful thing, the way people treat you, the camaraderie. It's very positive. And now I went full bore in jiu-jitsu, and now I'm Professor Halo, and I own Halo Jiu-Jitsu in Fresno, California. And I'm still competing around the world,
One of the things too is I think with the jiu-jitsu, and we've known each other for a long time, is
Right.
that I think the jiu-jitsu is that adopted military family.
It sure is.
You know what I mean?
They're all connected.
The teamwork, the team building, the respect. We don't get, I'm just, hate to say, man, there's not a lot of respect that goes around in this world right now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
there's
and
none.
Guys like you, I do the physique type contest, the bodybuilding type thing, the old guy category. But
You're
no matter
killing it, Doc. You're young, dude.
Yeah, still working it. But there's something about like a gym setting, you know what I
Right.
mean? Or a powerlifting setting,
Right.
or jiu-jitsu or martial arts. There's that camaraderie, that's that teamwork. And I think guys that, spend time in the military, when they get out, they're looking for some sort of
Outlet,
camaraderie, outlet.
brotherhood,
Mhm.
toughness. They want to hang out and train and make themselves better. And, I like that. And, a lot of military people come to my gym, and I'm sure to
Yeah.
yours too, because you're
Oh,
a
yeah.
veteran and I'm
Yep.
one. And, they just want to get better. They need something. They need to be something for their mental to be positive, outlets.
One of the things for what I really like about, your studio with Halo Jiu-Jitsu is the fact that, I know the studio really well, and just to kind of let the audience know too is one of the things is you take pride on really teaching the young generation.
Right.
That's a huge and it exudes outside just you. You and I get together whenever we can. We're both super busy, but we both see the same people, because myself as the sports chiropractor, I see a lot of your clients that come in.
Right.
Some of my clients are students at your place. But one of the things that hits home to me, and I think our job in our life, is to be that shoulders for other people to step up higher in their life.
Yes.
And your facility, man, I'm telling you, man, and it's a compliment to you. You get a lot of younger generation that need the guidance, and your facility that has that.
Thank you, Doc. And so
Yeah.
does yours. You lead by example, and so do I. And it's amazing. I just love coaching. We start the kids at 4 years old, and I like that. And I've seen kids grow up from 4 years old on my team all the way up to 18 years old, and they're champions now. They fight around the world.
Yeah.
Like a Cole Franson. He started with us when he's 14, now about 28. But the dude's like ranked number 4 in the world at lightweight, adult division. Such a savage, such a nice kid.
Yeah.
Clovis.
Yeah.
Kicks
The local
everyone's
guy,
Yeah.
local guy in here in the Central Valley.
Yeah,
You know what
so
I mean?
we build a lot of champions. Our system, the reason why people come to our gym is because our system really works. It's been proven to work for years.
Yeah.
I've built over, like 50 world titles plus in like 4 different leagues, so
Yeah.
we're having fun. I love jiu-jitsu. You don't got to be a world champion to be something special. As long as you're better than the man you were yesterday, that's all that counts.
Oh, and even we've talked about it over the years too, that we've known each other, is a loss is not necessarily a loss.
No,
It's
failure.
a learning experience.
Yeah,
You know what I
we
mean?
never lose. We always learn.
Yeah.
And failure is better than not trying. Because look, if you fear things, right?
Yep.
you can fear things, but fear steals your dreams. So you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But if you try, and you fail, you're getting there. You got to fail to be a champion. You got to fail to succeed in life. If you don't fail, you're not going to get nowhere. You're not going to be able to taste the dirt, the grit and grind, and the warriorness. You're not going to be a warrior at the top if you can't go through the dirt and feel pain.
So one of the things too is like in my mindset, that warrior mindset that I have is I'm always, and I think you feel the same way. We're always trying to lead by example.
Absolutely.
So we're still out there doing it. We don't own studios or gyms or whatever, and we're the guys in the office doing nothing, right? We're just collecting a paycheck. You're out there on the mat. I'm in the gym, and things of that nature. Is there somebody that you're chasing still? Like when you go, man, I want to be, I want to keep doing this one. I want to keep doing that with this guy here that I want to follow. Like I want to, still, this guy is where I want to be like.
I compete in the master division, and I have fought the top masters in the world, black belts, and they're all savages. They all stay in shape, ex-bodybuilders. They're physically fit. I'll be 50 next year, and these guys are like in shape still, so I want to be like that. I look up to them as my competitors, that I compete against them, and we're all growing together and making each other better. So I'm still competing in the biggest league in the world. I just got done competing in the London International in October, and I'm competing in Japan next month. I'm doing 3 tournaments in 1 week from the 18th of March to the 28th. On a Tuesday, I'm doing the Kansai International. On Saturday, I'm doing the Marina Pro, and Sunday, I'm doing the Tokyo International. But before I leave, I'm going to warm up in Los Angeles and fight in the IBJJF on March 11th. So that's 4 tournaments in 1 month. So I'm excited. I'm competing at a heavier weight in Japan. I'm not worried about it. I love jiu-jitsu. I want to go over there and eat some sushi, rice, and see my friends. I call my friend Kamikaze and my other friend Yuji. They know I'm coming down, so we're going to hang out afterwards and enjoy life.
They compete in your same weight?
No, they compete. They're lighter, a little lighter. Yeah. But we're all friends. We hang out and we know each other. So it's my 6th time going to Japan, and I'm living a dream. I'm still competing. I'm pumped. Yeah. I'm like, let's get better, man.
Yeah, because, what's that expression? There's plenty of time to rest when we're dead.
Yeah, and you're my chiropractor, so I need my back pop before I go. I'm too short.
Get you on a table. Get them tuned up.
Yeah, make me taller. Yeah.
Yeah. But you look at it this way, and it was funny because we're both in the service, right?
Right.
And we're both, physical type of guys, and you're on the end where you're doing the strength and conditioning. We'll call it that. That is a thing. So you're working on the structure as far as the muscular system is concerned.
Right.
Myself as a chiropractor, former military guy, myself too, still in the gym, is I'm working on the function.
Right.
So I tell people every day, and this is what's really good as far as, we got to keep our body tuned up, right? So in the military, we clean our weapons, we clean our equipment and whatever, because if we don't clean our equipment, it's not going to be useful.
Right.
Right. And obviously, you've been a patient of mine for many years, and you understand just stretching and strengthening in order to compete. Because if you don't, you're going to get injured.
Right.
I tell people all the time, every day we get water out of the well.
Right.
And they're like, Doc, what do you mean by water out of the well? I don't care whether you're a housewife, a firefighter, jiu-jitsu, military personnel. Every day you got to get water out of the well.
Right.
And what it takes a rope and a pulley.
Yeah.
That's the way the body works.
Yeah.
The rope and a pulley. Now, is it way more complicated than that? Yes. But the analogy is really good. Because a lot of times what people do is they work on the rope. And they go, Doc, what's the rope? Well, the rope is basically your muscles, ligaments, and tendons. Right. And you can do massage. You can do tissue work. You can do cupping. You can do trigger points. You can do acupuncture. You can do the chiropractic tissue work massage. That's all good.
Right.
But what happens is people forget about the pulley.
Yeah.
So if the pulley is rusted, the pulley is out of alignment, the pulley's
not working.
Oil it. You got to get it moving, right? Either you got to give it a little bump, you got to get it pushing, you got to realign it.
You got to move.
But what happens is people don't realize you got to do both.
Right.
You can't just get the chiropractic adjustments and just send them on their way.
They're not working
on the rope.
You got to keep moving.
Exactly. So with you and the way you work with because a lot of your students come to my office and all that type of good stuff. But you understand the concept, of both pieces of equipment to get the water out of the well have to be worked properly.
Yes, you need to get adjusted. Like, like an air conditioner needs a tune-up, your body needs a tune-up. I come here to get tuned up by you because you're the best in town, and I thank you. And, my students, I refer them all to you because your doc, and you make it happen right. You know, you take care of us. And,
Yeah, and it's like, you know, just like in general, like whether it's you or me, just in general, it's like, you know, we got to keep that body like that temple. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's, you know, go ahead.
You got to spoil yourself with it. You got to take care of yourself. You got to love yourself, because if you don't take care of your body, how are you going to be able to move?
Yeah, where are you going to live?
Yeah, where are you going to live? You got to move. You got to be a warrior about it. You got to be a warrior about love. You got to be crazy about loving yourself. And I tell people that, because if you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to give positive energy to nobody.
To anybody. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, like me, I believe in energy, and I know you do too, because that's how us humans function. So when you're more positive, you know, you treat people fairly, you help people out, you give back. You know, me having a big jiu-jitsu gym in Fresno and my students moving all over America. Like, I just got a new one in Lexington, Tennessee. One of my black belts, Jared Huber.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he came here as well, his family.
Yep.
He opened up a school in Lexington, Tennessee.
And you got Texas.
I got Lufkin, Texas.
That's
Anthony Vidal.
Anthony, good friend
and
of mine.
He comes here too,
Yeah.
see? And they're all moving away. You got Roger from my Not North Dakota. Did I bring him here? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. No.
Yeah, but I
then you were just telling me before we got on mic and everything like that.
Yeah.
In Bellingham,
Bellingham, England.
England.
Yeah, so we're in the United Kingdom. You know, everyone's all, Angel, how did you land that? Shout out to Alex Wright. I'm sponsored by Rev Gear, you know, the biggest distribution company in the world, and he's the biggest distributor, you know, in the United Kingdom and Europe and all that. So it's just the love they showed me down there. You know, they take care of me when I go over there. I do seminars. We got our new school out there, man. It's only 20 miles from Scotland, 20 miles from Hexham, medieval times. And it's just a beautiful landscape, like the movie Braveheart. I'm like, wow, living a dream, doing jiu-jitsu. The beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu is we all speak the same language around the world.
Right.
Accents are a little different, but that's okay. It's all the same. It's all positives. We're all moving forward together, and it's just an honor having him part of my team as well.
Yeah, I mean, and do you plan it like you have other little mix, you know, things in the mix right now for some other studios?
To be honest with you, yeah. Cameron Escobedo, I promoted him to black belt. Do you remember Cameron?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so he's opening one up in Oregon now.
Oregon.
So that's another one. And then Ray Yescas,
Ray. Yeah, he's just up in the hills.
Yeah, Elevation.
Yeah.
So yeah, him and Rico, they're up there doing that, and that's our other affiliate. So I got 5. Another one, 6 on the way. I'm just going to keep giving back because I love it. I got to make sure I do the right thing for them and make sure that they, you know, I do what a professor should do and lead by example.
And it's funny because I use the expression all the time with people is like, you want to leave that thumbprint. Right. When we leave this earth, man, we want to leave a thumbprint to go, man, you know, this was a good guy.
Warrior thumbprints.
Yeah, and it's funny because I tell my kids all the time, when I leave this earth on my plaque, I wanted to say, no one can ever say he was lazy.
No
and dude, you're from the same cloth. Like, no one can ever say I'm lazy. No one can ever say we don't get
You're not
back.
lazy, Doc. Every time I think about Doc, I'm like, man, that dude's a hardworking man. He's always positive, and I look up to you for that aspect.
Oh, well, thank you
You know
very
what
much.
I mean? I love having friends. I need people around me like you that keep me pumped up and fired up and motivated, and you're one of those guys.
Thanks.
I don't want to surround myself around people that are going to bring me down. I need to stay positive, and it's true.
Yeah, we got to shed that sometimes because it's almost like you know, whatever, lack of a better term, you know, a leech latches on, and sometimes it just sucks us dry. You know what I mean?
Dude, there's a lot of those, and when you're doing good in life too, they're gonna come more at you. So you know, I've really experienced that. I'm like, I keep progressing, but then there's some people on the side. I'm like, I gotta leave that alone because he's so negative and he's not really caring too much about himself. So there's no way it's gonna work. You know, he's not gonna be good for the team.
Well, and where that goes back into, it goes into the quicksand. Right. You step that foot into the quicksand.
And it's quick.
And what's happening is people in that quicksand, misery loves company.
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean? And they just kind of drag a foot. And then all of a sudden, if you let them grab their foot, then somebody all of a sudden is grabbing the other leg.
And it's our fault, too. It's always our fault because they're failing. And it's because of you. I'm like, look in the mirror, damn it. Yeah. Fix yourself. Yeah. Be a warrior.
And, well, prime example is Buds is a volunteer type of thing. So like the infantry, a lot of times are going through regular boot camp. You're in the military, you got to stay there for the 4 years, whatever the time you enlisted. But with Buds, like some of the special operation programs, there's it's a volunteer. So if you quit, you can leave and you go back to the fleet.
That's on you.
I mean? It's on you.
Yeah.
But same thing with that quicksand and that concept that I just thought in my mind is the guys that would quit in Buds, they'd quit in groups.
Right.
because that misery loves company.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, guys are ringing out of the bell, but there's never really a guy rings out of the bell by himself.
No. Yeah.
He's dragging somebody else with him.
Yes. And you know what? I'm like, you're not doing that to me. I've been in this world. It's a cold world. I got more experience every day. I'm getting better. We're smarter daily, of course, because that's what we strive for. So I'm not going to let no one's dragging me down. My mind is set for life. I'm going to be a warrior till I can't be a warrior no more, and nothing could break me or nothing.
And it's funny because we have that, we use that warrior mindset to, for the way we live our lives. And it's kind of interesting because in the first responders, police, fire, paramedics, military and whatnot, they have St. Michael. You know what I mean? He's like patron saint, of the warriors. He is the warrior. And, a lot of times, too, I use that expression. You see them on T-shirts around the way. It's when kind of the shit hits the fan in your life and you feel like you're getting depressed. The quicksand's pulling you down. Somebody's grabbing you by the ankles and whatever. I just tell myself, not today, Satan. Not today.
That's the devil. And you know what? The devil's a tough dude. If he sees you doing bad, he's not going to bother you because he likes what you're doing.
Yeah.
But then if he sees doing good and saying your prayers, he's going to try and break you down.
Yeah.
Because he's the devil. But guess what? I kick the devil's ass every day.
Dude, I think of the same exact thing. It's like, in my mind, I say that to myself, and it's such a silly little, it's on a T-shirt or whatever here. Not today, Satan, but
it's true.
The better you do, the more successful you are.
He's coming for you. The devil's, amen, yeah.
I'm telling you, and I feel it sometimes because sometimes you catch a little bit of bite on that ankle, and you're just like,
I'm like,
what?
Stay off
hell
me.
no.
Stay off me, devil. I'm going to kick your ass again.
And that's why we wear that armor.
Yeah.
That's why we put that
armor
on every day, bro. We put on that armor and we strut. Man, come on, you got to tell me that there's not days where you kind of, lay in bed and you go, oh, man, I just like to just lay a little bit. But you can't, man, because that's
you got to get up. That's the devil.
Yeah. Joe, it's comfortable. It's fucking warm in here.
I know you're in your bed and I'm like, and I start laying there. I'm like, and then I start thinking about my life and I'm laying in bed. I'm like, Angel, get your ass up.
And you and I are super lucky because we own our own businesses.
So we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, we got a nice studio, a room in here, but right on the other side of the wall is my gym.
Yeah.
Like you have your office space, but you go outside the office space and boom, there's the mat.
There's the mat. So I'm like, Angel, get your ass on the mat.
You can't, there's no excuse for us.
No excuse for us.
You know what I mean?
Guys like men like us, it ain't happening.
But it is nice. It is really nice when you get some of the younger guys, and we were talking off camera about this before. When you I'm still working hard. There's a bodybuilding physique contest coming up in June 10th down in San Diego. Some of the old stomping grounds where Coronado is.
Yeah,
and
I was born there.
It's a military only physique bodybuilding competition. Active duty, veterans, and dependents.
You're gonna win, Doc.
And I already know. And it's funny, because the older you get, the less people work out.
Yeah.
So last year I competed 3 times in the physique, and to tell the audience, yes, I'm getting up there in the years, but
you're young.
I'm still working hard,
yeah.
and I'm in the 60 and over category.
Wow.
Dude, nobody's competing. I'm the only freaking dude there. So what I do
go
is
down age groups.
I go 10 years younger
because you're younger, Doc. You're like 30, dude.
Yeah, and I first.
It's like 30 years old.
I'm like
28.
First or second. So it's like when I get down to San Diego, if there's 60 and above, I'm going to go in it. But I'm competing against guys 10, 12. This year, 60, 63 this year?
Yeah.
No, man, I'm going to the 50 and above.
You're going to win it.
Well, I'm going to do the best I can.
I know you are, Doc. I'm proud of you,
But we lead by example.
Warriors.
That's exactly it. So when you're in the gym and some guys are like, you're training somebody and they're a 20-year-old guy and they're doing pretty good.
Right.
But all of a sudden, you catch them a couple times, I'm guaranteed that young buck's going to be like,
all
damn,
the young kids
I got
that
some
come
work
in.
to do.
I love my students and I'm getting their game up, but, coach catches them. They're 18, 19, 20. They're like, damn, coach, you roll like you're a young man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, when you stop playing, that's when you get old. And we're not going to stop playing.
No,
we're going to play forever.
Never.
Yeah, play forever. So I love my students, and I truly believe that jiu-jitsu has to come from God because I ended up in Jerusalem. I competed in the
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, I went to Israel, and I was the first foreigner to sign up for the tournament. I made a little history, and that was cool, being in, Israel, training with the Soul Fighters of Israel, Professor Tank Mendez from Brazil, all his affiliated schools there, Amir Barone, the leader of Soul Fighters of Israel, one of my great friends. Shout out to him. He's such a nice man, and they showed me a lot of love. Put me up at a hotel by the Mediterranean Sea. I got to go to I got baptized in the Jordan River.
Dude,
I mean, I was
crazy.
I was in the Dead Sea. I got a tattoo in Jerusalem by the Jaffa Gate at the first tattoo parlor called Razook Tattoos.
Wait a minute, you got tattoos?
I got
You got some tattoos?
I
got
think
a couple?
I do.
Got a couple?
A couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got one on my ankle, the Christian cross, and it says
Nice.
Jerusalem in Aramaic, Jesus' first language, because that's who I believe in.
Yeah.
Believe in who you want, but that's just who I believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
as long as it makes you a better person, that's all that counts.
You know what's funny when you talk about with the tattoos, and I mean you and we've known each other a long time, and you know it would take us an hour just to go through the tattoos.
Yeah.
And but my personal, team guy, military guy, don't
Right.
even have a tattoo yet. You know what I
That's
mean?
great. Have them or don't.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad don't got none either.
Yeah, but the funny thing about when you're just talking about it, you got a tattoo. You got a tattoo in, was it Jordan or Jerusalem? You got a tattoo in Jerusalem, right?
By the Jaffa Gate.
That is just like, talk about a story you can tell. So I tell people all the time, the first time I ever had an espresso, I was in Italy.
Beautiful. Well,
First time I ever had sushi was in Japan.
Beautiful. So
So
that's history, though, because you're like,
Those are stories, bro. Those are stories.
they're meant. And the sushi in Japan's amazing. The fatty tuna, when I go there to compete, I just go to the sushi parlor, eat fatty tuna all day, drink some Sapporos, and I'm good.
Yeah, I was in Okinawa, and they one time, and they had the was it the puffer fish? It's only a certain time of year. Hey, we're going to serve you this, but hey, you could die if if it's not in season or cut right. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of sake, and you're like, hey, if I go, I go.
Yeah, you ain't going
But
nowhere.
I did go in Okinawa if I did go. So that'd be see a talking factor.
Yeah, you ain't going nowhere there.
Exactly. They
That's
can't
right.
kill me.
Nope, nothing can kill me.
But that's the big thing, and we'll kind of wrap up here a little bit. We got plenty of stuff, man. You and I could go on for hours, and hey, listen, we'll
At least
come back with
24
some.
hours.
Yeah, at least 24 hours.
Easily.
When you get back, we'll have to bring you back on and just see what the warrior within you has what you saw of this next trip and things like that. But the thing as we kind of wrap up this conversation is the foundation that this podcast is trying to formulate is I want to talk to people that have become successful. Now, success doesn't necessarily mean millions of dollars, right? Success means
helping people.
One, right? Being a little bit financially successful, leaving that thumbprint, when we leave this
Leaving
earth.
a stake in the earth.
Yeah, man, like that we're there.
Yeah.
And
we're here for
this
life.
podcast, like having you on, because you've been a good friend for many years, and I see you as that warrior, and your mindset is solid as a rock. And I just look forward to bringing more people on like you.
Thanks, Doc.
That people out in our audience as it grows can see people like you and me. Like, we're not these, big people out on TV right now. And
We're
all this
real
type
warriors.
Exactly, man. And that's what I want people to understand. It's like I want to get people on here that have become successful in their own right. Hey, it could be a housewife that all of a sudden, raises money for some certain charity and became, a warrior within herself.
Right.
Different guys and young folks along the way that are persevering. And that's kind of where I'm putting this this warrior mindset podcast, too.
And you're doing a great job, and you're a real warrior. So, if I see a warrior, I'm going to say, go talk to Doc.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're going to finish up right now, and I just want to thank you very much. Angel Lopez, he owns Halo Jiu-Jitsu right here in the Central Valley, Fresno, Clovis area. We'd love to have him come back again and again, and as we kind of build on these podcasts, we look for more people with the same, character, same, warrior mindset that he has. And, look forward to seeing you guys watch our podcast in the future, and we'll see you real soon.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you very much. All right, brother. Good.
Fun times.